Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Georgiman and I'm your friendly neighborhood anime and manga fan. I love all things anime and all things manga, and I'm here today to talk about My Dress Up Darling chapter 107. So, what did I think about this week's chapter? If you already saw the intro to this video, you obviously know that I completely lost my mind during this chapter. I think this chapter was phenomenal. I think this chapter will go down in history as the best chapter of the series thus far. I think it's just a 5 out of 5 stars chapter, and I think Fukuda definitely built up the tension up to this point in the story to give us a great payoff, which was, by the thumbnail, a great confession from Gojo's part, and I can't wait to get to it and talk to you guys about it. Now, before I go any further with this week's chapter, I just want to give you guys a quick reminder to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can be up to date with all my Dress Up Darling as well as all my anime and manga content that I'll be providing in this channel. It really helps out a lot, and I would really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you guys could, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into this week's chapter. So this week's chapter starts off right where we left off last time, which is Marin and Gojo's big confrontation. And right off the get-go, you see Marin just be pretty much down and pretty sad about the whole situation. You see her kind of like looking like dead inside, because that's what she is. Because she starts explaining to Gojo, because Gojo's like, what are you doing? Like, why do you want to hang out anymore? And Marin, she starts explaining the whole reason why she wants to stop cosplaying with Gojo, and that's because she feels like a hindrance. She feels like she is holding him back, because all the time that they've been spending cosplaying and all that stuff has been taking away time from him being able to become a better Hina doll maker. And that's something that you see in her face. She's like, I'm such a burn, I'm so sorry, like, we're better off like this. And I love Fukuda's point of view on Gojo, because we cut to Gojo and my man has a disgusting face, and like he just looks so disgusted about the whole narrative that Marin was talking about. And he just pretty much breaks it down. He's like, listen, you realize that, there's not enough time to practice Hina doll making, right? And even if we stop cosplaying, I still got other things to do. Like, it's not it's not the sole only reason I do this. Like, I'm not going to spend my entire life just doing that. Like, I got other stuff I want to do too. I want to see other things as well. And, he's pretty much thanks Marin, like, hey, like, I really appreciate, because of you, I've been able to come out of my shell, and I started seeing more things, and I've been having a lot of fun ever since we've been hanging out, and it's something that I just want to thank you so much for. And you see Gojo's like, his conviction and his determination telling this to Marin, and he just seems very happy about even meeting her. And as he's professing all of this to Marin just hits him back with something that I myself was thinking that was going to eventually happen, and I'm glad that she did, which is Marin brought up, hey, what was the deal, like, about the comic festival? Like, what was the deal? You look so mad and angry, like, and moody, like you're trying to pretend like everything's okay, but like, what was that about, huh? Like, don't act like you don't hate me or you don't resent me. And I love how, she brought it back. It wasn't just like, oh, they talk up, like, she just gonna not talk about it. No, she brought it up, and that issue gets resolved. And what pretty much happens is Gojo explains his point of view during that whole situation. And it's a point of view that I myself and many other people have speculated would be the reason. And the reason that he was feeling that way that he was during the comic festival is because he was jealous. Jealous. He was jealous about all the people around her and all the people that are taking pictures of her, and he just, like, he felt like they were taking her away. He was just jealous, and that's when he started realizing, like, hey, all these feelings I have for her, like, they're really developing. Like, it's not just a friendly, like, she's just a friend. Like, I really was getting bugged at the idea of all these people looking at you, and it was I know it's selfish, and that's why I didn't want to say anything, because if I said this, it might have ruined our whole friendship. Because you might have been like, what's your deal? Or maybe you didn't feel the same way as I did. And you see this great monologue, like, of all the events that have been leading up to this point. The non-Chan conversation, the conversation with the guy from Swallowtail, the old elderly man that he was talking to a couple of chapters ago. Everything that he has been building up to it was to this moment. And what is that moment that I'm talking about right now? Is that as he continues explaining his feelings about the whole situation, he eventually stumbles upon this thing where he's like, you know what, I didn't want to say this because I was afraid. I thought it was too late, but whatever. I don't care what the ramifications of this is. I will just come out and say it. And what he says is his true feelings, which is that he loves you. And he says, I love you, Kitagawa-san. And it was great. As soon as I got to that page, I was like, oh my God, finally, we're here. We're at the promised land, guys. We got here. Because I had seen so many people complaining, like, oh, it's going to be like another 20 chapters. They're going to drag it out. And I had been saying very, very much so. In all my videos, if you read the comments, I reply to people. I've been saying, no, I can only see this, extending to 1 chapter, at most 2 chapters. And as we saw, the Non-Chan conflict was 1 chapter, so there was no excuse for this not to be resolved in 1 chapter. And it really was, because as Gojo, he says I love you to Marin. Marin just, does what Marin would do, and she just literally jumps on my man and she tackles him down, and she just says, I love you, and she just spams it, and she's like, I love you so much, I love you, Gojo. And man, to say that my heart grew like 20 sizes after I saw that page would be an understatement, because like my whole day, my whole month, my whole year has been made because of this chapter. It was just such a wholesome and beautiful chapter overall, because we see finally the payoff that we had been building up for 107 chapters of these 2 characters getting closer and closer with each other, eventually has culminated in this beautiful confession between the 2 of them. And I had been telling people that all the time, that the reason this confession was going to happen is because once they do have a confrontation, the feelings were going to come out, and I was 100% right with that. So a little tap on the shoulder on my behalf, because I knew that there was no way they were not going to resolve this after they talk it out, because I seen Gojo, especially after the Non-Chan, there was no excuse for it to not happen. And as we see that pretty much Marin is super happy about Gojo liking her, or not even liking her, loving her. She just she see her so happy, and it was so nice seeing Marin happy again, because I miss Marin being happy. You see her like super excited. She's like, oh my god, you love me? Oh my god, I thought it was something else. I thought this whole time I got you mad, or I thought you were hating me or something. Like, oh my god, you genuinely love me? Oh wow. And she just can't believe it, and she's just so happy, and I would be too. I mean, if my crush that I've been loving for a couple of months, if she loved me back, like, and she confessed to me, I would have been like, oh man, like back at in high school, when I was like their age, I would have been like super like happy about them. So it was so cute seeing these 2 little lovebirds finally get together. And we see pretty much is that as the chapter continues, we see her just be super Marin as usual, super lovey-dovey. But she's able to say this to Gojo now, and she's like, I love you even more now. And it's so sweet. And you see Gojo just kind of like being overwhelmed. He's like, oh man, I don't think I signed up for this, man, or I wasn't ready for it. Because he's being overwhelmed, but in a good way. He's just like like shocked, like, oh my gosh, she actually loves me. And that's like that's the payoff. Gojo feels so proud. I'm sure that he does, and I am proud of Gojo as well, because the girl that he loves loves him back, and that's very, very sweet. And how we end the chapter is with a beautiful little panel of where we see Marin just seal the deal and kiss Gojo, and she just says I love you in her head. And that's how the chapter ended. It ended in a beautiful way, very, very much the culmination of from the coffin arc up to the Haniel arc. And I had seen people say like the Haniel arc, they were mad. They didn't like it. They didn't think it was like anything special. They thought there was going to be no payoff. And I told you guys from the get-go, I think the Haniel arc and the coffin arc were very essential to building up to this, and it definitely paid off. I think I was 100% right. And overall, I just want to say, Fukuda, you were absolutely cooking, and I'm so excited to see where the story takes us from here, because not just because they kiss does that mean that they're boyfriend and girlfriend. So the real question is now, they gotta go officially on a date. They gotta, Gojo or Marin has to like ask them out to be their boyfriend and girlfriend. And that's where I'll see, I'm sure, more wholesome and cutesy romantic stuff like we used to, back in like the happy days of My Dress Up Darling. And it seems like we're once again in the happy days, so I'm very happy about that. And now that they're pretty much back in good terms, I'm very excited to see where the story goes from here, because there's a lot of possibilities and a lot of scenarios that I would like to see them play out with them as a couple, because that's obviously what we all been wanting to happen. And now that they're obviously like kissing, that means that they're leading to that. So I'm very excited to see where the future holds. But with all that being said, what did you guys think about this week's chapter? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was just all right? Whatever you guys thought, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel for more My Dress Up Darling, as well as more anime and manga content in the near future. But yeah, with all that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.